folks? Welcome back to another episode of Cracked Gaming. Dylan, episode 11? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, we're almost we're almost to the quarter century mark. We're making our way slowly but surely.
Week by week. To be fair, just a heads up to you guys, it's just Dylan and I this week. We had a run of guests on the show, and we have some big stuff planned coming up for you. But this week we wanted to take some time, catch up with you guys, talk about some stuff that we've been doing, and then maybe talk about some stuff that we have coming up in the future. Dylan, how did you think the last couple weeks went? We had some great guests.
That we have. We've had
Do
some.
do we feel like this is the path forward for us here?
I do believe so, Ben. I mean, I think being able to get that insight from people that are within the gaming industry that are doing things that we're not exactly familiar with. I mean, like I've watched Twitch streams before.
Right.
Obviously, like I know about game developers and what they do, but hearing it, straight from the horse's mouth per se is something very different. And I think our listeners appreciate that. At least I hope they do.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely agree. I think I don't know if I've ever really told you this, but I think one of the things that I like most about doing the podcast with you is the storytelling part of it, right? And
Right.
that's part of what I love video games. I used to just play campaign modes or just play story modes because I love the stories of it, right? It's like this movie that you get to participate in.
Right.
And I think hearing the or having guests on the show gives us a great opportunity to hear their stories and hear
Yeah.
how they got into video games and their sort of paths. Obviously, Darlene from Darlene Codes comes to mind. We had Anthony earlier as our first guest talking about his path to streaming, and then
Hmm.
we had Brittany on who was talking about what it's like to be a female streamer and try and make it in that world, and so I was just fascinated by those stories. I think that part of it is most exciting to me.
I agree, Ben, and not to give too much away for the coming weeks, but I think we are expanding far beyond our country of origin here in the United States.
Going international.
Cracked Gaming is
I think
officially
we have.
going worldwide.
I think we have. Correct me if I'm wrong. We have at least two international guests that we've spoken to,
That's right.
and then I know we have another domestic to the United States guest.
Sure.
But yeah, we're going international.
I love it.
Um, and I'm excited to see what arises from that and see what other connections we can make and see what stories they have to tell.
Me too, man.
So let's jump into some news. We haven't done a news story in a little while. Last couple of guests, we've just jumped right into talking to them. You had mentioned earlier there's something going on between Apple and Epic Games. Did you wanna
Yeah.
you wanna talk about that a little bit?
So this is pretty interesting. This is a lawsuit that began, actually, it began all the way back in August of 2020, but it seems to be coming to a head here soon.
Mm.
Um, Epic versus Apple Games, also joined by Epic versus Google, um,
Mm.
because so obviously Epic Games at the moment currently famous for Fortnite.
Right.
Um, So obviously, when Fortnite was huge and still is huge, it ended up being released on mobile, uh, so the App Store and also the Google Play Store.
Now, did you ever play it mobile?
I never did play it mobile. I always kind of
Okay.
figured. I mean, I would assume that they would have matched you up with other mobile players, so it would have been fairly even. But I always
Sure.
had sort of older generation Android phones, and I did not trust my phone to much like my laptop with PC gaming. I did not trust
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
three generation old Android phone to keep up. I was happy to stick to my PlayStation to play Fortnite.
Love it.
Um, so yeah, basically, once Epic got their games listed on the app and Google Play Store, they did the same thing that every app does that gets listed on that store that has in-app purchases, which
Mm.
is give Apple and Google a slice of whatever in-game purchases were made. But Epic Games did not like that. They made a lot of money off of Fortnite, and they thought that they could be making a lot more off of mobile Fortnite. But
Yep.
because they were giving so much away to their hosts, they decided to circumvent it and completely, basically, cut off the two companies from being able to make any revenue from their in-app purchases.
Yep.
Which Apple and Google swiftly responded by removing Fortnite from their stores, respectively. So obviously, Epic Games was not thrilled. They launched some legal action, and it's still ongoing. But I mean, to me anyway, this is definitely a huge precedent that's going to be set here. The ruling of this
Right.
case.
Yeah. I think
Um,
so.
I would imagine this is how it's always been done in terms of in-app purchases. I guess it's a little bit different because Fortnite is such a already large independent game
Right.
that Epic Games didn't really see fit to work with other big companies to grow their product because it was already so big.
Now I want to cut you off real quick.
Sure.
I just want to clarify something. So in doing the research for this story, I also am wondering. So I have a MacBook, um, and to purchase games for the MacBook, it also goes through the Apple App Store.
Sure.
So so when we say mobile, I think this also might apply to laptops as well.
Interesting.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
I see. I mean, that could be. I don't know how many people were playing Fortnite on their MacBook personally, but
I don't know what you're trying to say, but all right.
but I suppose, yeah, I guess it would probably apply to that as well.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, most games I would imagine have already like this is the precedent that has been set by Apple and Google Play. Like
Right.
you get your game on our store, we
Right.
get a slice of whatever in-app purchases are made. It kind of
Mm.
I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. I think Apple and Google probably have the upper hand here. I don't know what your opinion is.
So, so I think Apple and Google probably have the upper hand purely based off of resources, market share, things like that. What I think is sort of an interesting analogy would then be if Netflix started charging movie studios to premiere their movies on Netflix, right? Like it's acting as a platform.
Sure.
But in fact, Netflix and movie streaming goes the opposite, where they pay the studios for the privilege of having their movies on their platform.
Sure.
So I think it's interesting because I think those two sort of scenarios are comparable, but yet have taken two very distinct, separate paths.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Um,
I don't know. Epic Games to me. So I don't know if I just have a bit of a bias since I've like kind of ditched Fortnite. So like maybe I have a bias against their parent company.
but you
The-
also have a bias against Apple. Tell the truth.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a huge Android guy and
So,
PC
so
too.
if Tim Cook, if you're listening and you want to convert Dylan, send us some gear.
Absolutely. So, but I mean, in this that's true. So I mean, I guess I would be fairly split down the middle here, and I don't agree with the approach by Epic Games here.
You don't agree.
No,
Oh,
I don't.
interesting. Oh, so we actually kind of differ. And I'm an Apple guy. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Because I'm sort of like, all for it. But on the flip side, so Apple went after Facebook and was like, every Facebook ad that runs on your Facebook app that technically came from our app store,
right.
part of that goes to us now. So Apple picked that same fight with Facebook, while Epic Games is picking that fight with Apple. I think it's very interesting. Tim
Yeah.
Cook is gonna testify. This is actually coming down to an anti trust lawsuit.
Yes. Yes.
Um, so I don't know when he's testifying, but I think it's coming up here. And everyone seems to think that Tim Cook's testimony is going to be a major make or break
Yeah.
in this case for Apple. Um, since we're talking about it, let's make a pick. Dylan, who is your pick in this lawsuit?
I gotta
Where are
go
you
with
putting your
Apple.
money?
Gotta go with the Apple.
Yeah, I'm going with Apple. There's no, they have too much money, too many lawyers. You know, I'm rooting for you, Epic Games, but
Yeah,
I think
too
Apple
much money,
takes
too
this
many
one.
lawyers, and the like we said, this is how it's always been done.
Mm.
I mean, Epic Games is definitely, if there is going to be a company that can like overthrow the current,
Status
uh,
quo, yeah.
status quo of in-app purchases, it would be Epic Games. So if they can't do it, this is how it's going to be for a long time.
It's interesting too. As we joke about this and these two major players, I'm reminded that we had Darlene on, who is talking about developing games and mobile games, and if she was able to keep all the direct proceeds from selling stuff on the App Store, all her in-game purchase stuff, that would be tremendous for her.
Right. Yeah,
So
I'd be curious to see um, what that would look like. Would it only be like AAA developers that would get
right,
most of the proceeds from their own in-app purchases? Would indie gamers or would indie developers still be on the short end of the stick? It would be interesting to see what
yeah,
changes would be made if Epic Games does win this lawsuit.
yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be tough. I think you're right. I think Apple pulls this away. Um, Speaking of free to play games,
Oh yes.
you and I have been on a little bit of an Apex tear. I think probably like the last 3 or 4 nights out of the last 7 or so.
Yeah, we have definitely been on a bit of an addiction here, and I would be remiss if I did not mention that like 2 days back into my addiction, I once
Oh
again bought the
boy.
battle pass.
Oh boy.
I
Oh
couldn't
boy.
stay away, man.
All the proceeds from the podcast went right into the battle pass. I So at first I wasn't into it because I didn't have anybody to play with. So I
Uh,
was given like you actually had recommended the game to me originally.
mhm.
And then I was bopping around waiting for you to finish up, with MLB.
Which I'm still kind of splitting my time with, by the way.
Low key, we're on a streak of like 7 shows in a row where we mention it. Um, yeah, so waiting for you to like get bored with that. But now that I have someone to play with, because I think the communication, the teammate, and like having a squad member
Absolutely.
is huge.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely huge. Playing with randos is difficult.
Very.
Um, but apparently not that difficult for you since you said you had an 8 kill game. You were carrying the squad.
I showed you the proof, man. I showed you the pictures. I
Oh
showed you
my
the
god,
proof.
Pixar didn't happen in video games. Um, Yeah, so I think I made a little discovery about myself.
Okay.
We played last night, I think it was.
Yeah.
So I think I figured out I like the Volt. I
Yes.
know you had
That
done
was
some research on the different weapons. I think I like the Volt. I like the Spitfire, and I like the R99.
all
Um,
great.
um, I think the Volt's helpful because no one wants the energy gun, so you can pick up all that energy ammo.
Right.
Still figuring out how to use my perks and things like that.
Uh-huh.
I had a nice I threw down a little force field shield the other day. Had a nice res from that.
Got some
um
Gibraltar going on. I like it. I like it.
yeah, for sure.
I think it's just
um
gonna be a matter of finding your main legend. I don't.
Find
It
me
might
and
be
my play
Gibraltar.
style.
You're gonna find it eventually. One day you're just gonna hop on a character, bro, and you're gonna have like a 10 kill game, and you're never going back.
I think you're praying that happens because you've had to carry me so hard.
It's been a little bit rough. It's been a little bit rough.
Have we gotten a dub together? I think we have. I think we have
We
one.
definitely have within the past few days. Yeah, because we got one right off the bat. Remember, didn't
Yeah,
get one
yeah,
for the rest of the night. We were like, hey, at least we got that one.
we can go to bed at 3 a.m. happy. Um, yeah. So if any of the listeners
Yeah,
want to hop in a squad,
we need a third. We always need a
we
third.
need a third. My gamer tag, and don't laugh, is Yoda Best Jedi. Yoda Best Jedi. Hashtag nerd.
I can't laugh too hard. Mine is tamed chaos _
Love it. Love it. So yeah, shoot us a friend request. Message us. Say like, listen, hey, we listened to the pod. We heard you guys were looking for a third squad member playing Apex.
Yeah,
and maybe we can get some runs in.
yeah,
I think that'd be awesome. A little audience
absolutely.
participation. Dylan, I'm excited. I don't know. Are you a Guardians of the Galaxy fan?
I'm a huge Guardians of the Galaxy fan. I love Marvel overall. Guardians, both movies have been phenomenal. They're both hilarious. They're probably the funniest movies out of any of the franchises.
Definitely, definitely, definitely one of some of the most entertaining and like almost least cliche too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, and so then obviously you know the actor Dave Bautista.
Yep.
Now, does he have you're a big MMA guy. Does he have a fight background?
So he, which is kind of funny, the fact that you brought him up to me before the show when we were discussing what we were going to be going over when you initially brought him up as the actor Dave Batista, I was like, oh, he doesn't know.
Oh, are you kidding me?
So Dave Batista throughout is a huge part of my childhood throughout most of the 2000s as a huge WWE star.
Oh, there we go.
Just went by Batista. That was his name. His nickname was the Animal.
I
Uh,
love it.
he was one of my favorites, bro. Yeah, so I've followed him for a long time.
So long story short, right, you know, tying this all together. Now he's an actor. You know, he did he's in Guardians of the Galaxy. Um, but I heard that he pitched Warner Brothers on a Gears of War movie. I don't know. Have you ever played Gears of War, Dylan?
Yeah, so I never owned it myself, but I've
Mm.
played it over at some friends' houses for sure.
I loved the game. I really did. Um, I think a Gears of War movie with him would be amazing. I
I
saw
agree.
I saw a picture of him next to like the animated character from the game. He
Yeah,
looks just like him.
yeah, he does.
He's got the physique for it. You know, if they're looking for a co-star, you know, call me.
Oh yeah,
I'm available.
absolutely.
I'm
Any
available.
extras? Yeah, assistants and literally
Extras.
anything. Medical staff,
Medical
whatever you
staff.
need.
I'll be sure to do some push-ups before my on-scene appearance, my on-camera appearance. But yeah, you know, and we've talked about the video game to movie conversion rate and success
Hmm.
rate. But
Not very
I don't know. I think his background in Guardians of the Galaxy,
good. Hmm.
yeah, sort of that space age monster fighting
Yeah, and
background.
he's
I
been
think
in
this
some
could
like
convert well.
he's definitely been in some like one-off action movies. Big budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can do it. He's got the range for that. That's his bread and butter. So
Warner Brothers, you have a market of two for this movie. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Dylan, do we have any picks this week? You know, I know that we've been deep in Apex, but that's not a new pick for the show.
yeah, so I figured that we would wrap it up. We'd kind of go full circle here with the mobile gaming aspect. I think my weekly pick is gonna be a mobile game this week.
Is it because you are afraid you're not going to be able to play it after Apple shuts this down?
It's mostly because I've had no time to play any games on the PlayStation between MLB and Apex.
All right, all right. Mobile
Um,
game. What do you got?
so, you know, everybody tries to find a game that can kill the time on their phone every once in a while.
Sure.
I've been killing the time a lot this week with a little soccer game that I downloaded. It's called Soccer
Oh,
Star.
okay.
It's this little like 3D animated soccer game where you basically just create your little player, so place them on a team, and it's nothing special. I mean, like, you
Mm,
get placed on a team, you play some games. It kind of just sets you up in these situations where you have X
mm.
amount of shots.
Yeah.
And if you like, say you jump in a game and you have like 4 shots, you have to hit like 2 of them to get a draw. You have to get 3 or
Mm,
more to win. It's got some little training sessions that you can use. It's got some free practice, like free kick kind of stuff. Bunch of different upgrades. I mean, I've kind of been addicted to it the last week or so.
all right. Playing a lot. We haven't forayed that much into mobile gaming.
No, we haven't.
And I realized why I don't play mobile games. So another curse of the iPhone. I think Apple has now been slowing my iPhone down. Like, I think
Really?
that yeah, you know they got sued for that.
Yes. I
Yeah,
did hear about that.
yeah. So my phone's just old enough now. I think that's starting to happen. The battery life doesn't really last. As the consummate professional that I am, I need to have my phone charged in case I need to be reached, in case Logitech wants to reach out to the pod and
Sure.
sponsor us. I want to be available. Um, so yes, I think that's actually why I haven't
Yeah.
picked up any mobile gaming. Um, but I'm hoping there might be a new phone in my future pretty soon, and I know
Sure.
um, the new graphics chips in the phones are phenomenal. So you say, what was it? Soccer Star? What was it called?
Yeah, I guess I just looked up the full name because it's actually pretty long on the Google Play Store. It's called Champion Soccer Star League and Cup Soccer Game. It's produced by a company called Brain Vault.
Brain Vault or
Yeah.
Fault?
Vault with a V. You got it.
Brain Vault. Oh. Well, if anyone from Brain Vault Development comes across this podcast, reach out to us. We'd love to have you on.
Yeah.
Hear
Seriously.
about hear about the development of the mobile Soccer Star game, and also how you took all Dylan's money. Have you? Are there in-app purchases? Like, can you purchase like faster cleats?
So I would imagine that there probably are some because there's some in-game currency and stuff to buy some
Mm,
upgrades for your player. But the fact that I haven't, yeah, I actually I just entered the store. There are some in-app purchases, but they
okay.
don't throw them in your face like a lot of other mobile games.
Oh, nice.
Um, because I mean the fact that I didn't even know that there was a store until just now, kind of lets you know about that. And you would think that that would mean that would mean there would be a lot of ads. There really aren't. I mean, there's some ads in between games and stuff, but they're pretty
Nice.
short. You can skip them for the most part. So
Yep.
I'm having a pretty good time.
All right. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, folks. Um, that's gonna do it for this episode. A little bit of a shorter episode, just Dylan and I. We're thinking next week we're back to the guests.
That's right.
I th- Hopefully we'll be international. There's been some serious math going on, adjusting for time zones, and Dylan's been plugging away at his calculator there, trying to figure it out how to make it work. But yeah, I think we have some really awesome stuff lined up for you. Um, we showed off some of the merch that I had a shirt on the other day. We have some water bottles, some stickers, things like that. That will certainly be coming. We're still talking about sort of the best way to do that, to produce it and make it affordable for you guys, how to sell it, an online store or website or something like that. So yeah, so a lot of cool stuff coming. We're heading into the summer months here, which means Dylan and I are staying up later and later playing
Oh
Apex,
yeah.
and I think we have some good content coming to you guys
Yes,
coming up.
sir.
So
Finals week is over. The gaming begins.
there you go, there you go, Dylan. Anything else you want to tell the readers, or are we wrapping up here,
I think we're just
the
about done for
listeners?
today, Ben.
Awesome. All right, guys. Shorter episode for you. Back with the guests next week. I think we've got some really good stuff coming. So make sure you tune in.